Hello Stampers, this is Kate with Kate's Creations and ready to share you a couple of cards from using Stampin' Up. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State, and I'm glad you've joined me today. I try to give ideas and tips and tricks in every video I make. Hopefully I've got some things for you today that might be helpful to you. I'm going to be doing two cards, and I'm doing what I call casing the catalog, and I'll show you as soon as I make sure I got all my things in order here. I will show you what we're going to make, and that is this card right here, and you'll see the all of the ingredients up here in the corner of my video. It shows you what stamps and dies I used, what cardstocks and what measurements, and what ink colors. So I thought this was really cute. I'm casing this from page 54 of the current mini catalog, the June to January to April, I think it is, mini catalog. And so that's on page 54 that I am casing. It will not be exactly the same. That's not the point. The point is to just get ideas from your catalog. So many of us order from the catalog because we've seen something in the catalog that caught our eye, that made us like what we wanted to get. And so then we don't get back to actually making the things that we saw that we like so much. So that's what this is about, page 54. Okay, so it is using the, oh, I think I put the wrong thing up here. Hold on. You know, I'm going to make this one too, but let's go to this one because I got the wrong thing. We're going to use the two-tone Flora for this particular card, okay? And we'll get to that other one a little bit later in the video. So it has dies with it and stamps. And this is the card I'm going to make. And again, it's still on page 54, and all of this still applies, okay? But this is the card we're going to make. So we're going to start with that petal pink base. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, and it's going to be a side fold card. I'm going to have to set this aside so I've got room to work and stay in the screen here. So we'll burnish that fold so it lays nice and flat. Now, the first piece is using that full-sized die that's in the set. Let me get that out so you can see it. It's right here. And the piece to cut that out of needs to be 4.5 by 5, and then it will cut out pretty much perfectly even, if you can get it to lay perfectly even on your cardstock. I also cut a piece of adhesive sheet, 4.5 by 5. I put it on the back of this piece, and then I cut it out. Now, when I did that, I did have to shim it in my Stampin' Cut emboss machine. I put just a single sheet of paper in there underneath the cut plate to add just a little bit of pressure so that we cut through that die cut sheet cleanly. And then I also cranked it through and back a couple of times so that it got lots of good coverage, so all the pieces punched out nice and evenly. This is just going to go on the front just like this, and I'm going to center it on there as best I can, and if I have a little overlap, then I can trim it off. It's definitely going to be narrower than the front of the card, and so I'm just going to set it evenly from side to side. So let's get me a pokey tool. Here, this one will work. Just grab what's available. And we've got to pick up that adhesive backing, get it started so it'll come up. And it will. I know it will. Just got to get it started. Once I get it started, it's a little tricky at first. There we go. So I finally got it started, and this is the backing that's coming off. You can see there I'm peeling it off. Just take your time, do it a little carefully because there's a lot of intricate pieces here, and it will come off. And that makes the entire piece sticky. I really do enjoy using the adhesive backed sheets, the adhesive sheets, double-sided. Okay, I'm going to start with the fold. I'm going to put this up in the corner where the fold is at, and I'm going to match the fold and the top of the card I do want to have that little bit, like about 1/8 of an inch on either side, so that's where I'm leaving that. You can see I left 1/4 of an inch, or 1/8 of an inch there, and pretty close to 1/8 of an inch there. Then I can just lay it down and press it into place. Now it is just a fraction, a little bit off there. I'm going to trim that up real quick. Sticking out. There, just trimmed that off, cleaned it up a little bit. There we go. And there's the front of the card ready to go, and that's stuck down beautifully. Okay, then I took another piece of basic white, that's this piece here, the 5x6, and I did a bunch of stamping, and I hope I haven't lost my pieces. I had pieces for everything here. Where they went. Okie dokie. Well, I stamped all these pieces with the various colors onto that white, and then I used the dies to cut them all out, okay? And obviously something has gotten away from me. But here's some of the pieces. And what I did, seeing how I've done so many things at my desk today, I've obviously lost some pieces. What I did is I took the sweet sorbet flower, and I just started building and held it in my hand and built. And so then I took this one, which is the fresh freesia one, and I just put a little tiny bit of adhesive on the one corner and stuck it right there. Just a little tiny bit right on the edge, stuck it to the red flower. That left this side free so I could take this one, which was the pale papaya flower, and I just tucked it under, put a little bit of adhesive here and stuck it to that. And then this one is the Orchid Oasis flower. And again, I just put a little bit on the edge of the flower and tucked it on. And I did the same thing with the stems. Just put a little bit of adhesive on the ends of the stems and tucked them in and stuck it. So this all became one piece that I mounted all together. I hope that makes sense since I don't have the pieces to show you. And these I just put a little glue dot right on the tip of the leaf and stuck them under. And you can see I did 3 of those. And so you don't get to see me actually build it, but you get to see what it looks like, and I hope I explained it well. So this is the fresh freesia, sweet sorbet, pale papaya, and orchid oasis. These leaves were stamped with the soft succulent, and these were stamped with evening evergreen. And I built the whole thing just by sticking them to each other and then put dimensionals on the back of them and attached them to the front of the card. And that's the finished product right there. And it is beautiful. And again, you can see that on page 54. So let's get that other piece up here, that other card. I think I have all the pieces for that one. You know, the best laid plans. I try very hard to do everything right and have it all together. And I just don't always. So then you get to the benefit of seeing me flounder a little bit, which, you know, happens to the best of us. Okay, so then this one is using the Dainty Delight dies. So here's we go. We're going to use the Dainty Delight dies. From that, I'm going to be using this flower and this flower piece, these center cut pieces, and a little bit of everything. I'm cutting this, and I'm doing the leaves. There's 2 of these little leaf ones, so I'm using those. I also used the cane weave. I'm really enjoying this. This is new in the mini catalog, cane weave 3-dimensional embossing folder. And that's what you see on this little strip here. Just gives it a little bit of texture. I really liked it. So, again, all the measurements and tools and everything are all listed there. I'm starting with a 5.5 by 8.5 basic white thick. That's going to be the base card. I'm going to fold it and burnish it. Make sure it folds nicely. Then I'm going to burnish it so that it lays nice and flat. Again, it's going to be a side fold card. This is the always something. This is the, get it here, Country Gingham 6x6 DSP. and I cut it the full size of the front of the card. So it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we're just going to attach it flat on the front of the card. One of those days, maybe I shouldn't be making a video. Oopsie. Huh. Like I say, maybe I shouldn't be making videos today. I'm going to line that up so it covers the front of the card. There we go. And then this piece is the 4 1/4 by 3, so it's 3 inches tall, and then it's going to cover the full width of the card, just like this. And we can go ahead and put that on as well if I can get my tape to work. Looks like I'm going to have to... Oh, it's empty. That would explain why it's not working. Let me get my refill. I have one ready right here. There we go. Yeah, we'll get this put together. There we go. Okay, and so then this is going to go on the front of the card. Again, just with Stamp and Seal. And you can use, if you've cut straight, you can use the lines in this gingham to get yourself a straight line. I probably came down from the top of close to 3/4 of an inch. And so we're just gonna do that. So there's that piece. And then this piece is the Parakeet Party, and it is cut 3/4 of an inch by 4 1/4. And then embossed, and we'll put some adhesive on that one. And it just rides right at the base of this piece of white that we had just put on. We'll just butt it up nice and tight and press it into place. And so there's that ready to go. Now, I also cut, when I cut this, I had a piece left over that is 6 inches long, and I think it's about 1/2 inch, yeah, 1/2 inch wide. I'm going to put that on the inside of my card just to add a little color to the inside of the card. So that's 1/2 inch, and it's the 6 inch piece, so I'm just going to trim off that extra. Just like that. And we'll get rid of that. Okay, now we're going to build our front. I cut this piece out with the die, and I'm going to use that, but I'm not going to use all of it. I kind of just looked at how far up I wanted it to go, and it looked like this might be a good place to trim it. So we're going to trim it right there, and then I'm going to attach it so that it kind of sticks up like this. And to do that, I didn't put adhesive on the back of this. So for that, I'm going to use my liquid glue pins that I use for that particular. This is a Zig 2-way glue pin. And it's just my go-to glue pin because it gives me some control. I can add just little dots of glue as needed. And then I can stick them down. So I'm just going to make that stem match the edge and put this in here just like that and stick it down. It won't look exactly the same as the other card, but it's not supposed to. Now these two pieces, paper stuck to my finger. These two pieces I just hand cut. When I cut this piece out of the green, it had kind of a curve where it had cut out, which gave me some guidelines, okay? And so I just took this and used it and just cut these by hand. It's because I just worked for me to do it with something a little thicker than the little thin tiny stem that they had in the stamp set, in the die set. And again, I'm just going to attach these with my glue pin. So we'll, and I'm probably gonna kind of measure this and maybe cut some of it off. I think I will just use a certain amount of it, like this. And it's kind of got its own little shape to it, a little thicker at the stem and thinner towards the top, which is normal with stems, right? And then I'm going to put another one over this way, and it's going to kind of overlap. Let's do it like that. And it's going to kind of overlap this flower a little bit, and that's okay. And then I'm also going to shorten it just a little bit too. Let's see how it looks a little bit better. Yeah, I think that'll work. So let's put some glue on that one. And it doesn't really matter where you put it. It's totally up to you, and it's a matter of taste. So we'll just do that. And overlapping just gives it dimension. Now we still have this piece that that I cut out. And so as not to be wasteful, I'm going to trim it down so it looks nice, so that leaf looks more real. And I'm going to add it over here just to add a little bit more of some leaves. Yeah, I like that right there. I think I'm going to do it right there. Just because I wanted more leaves. Again, just up to you what you decide to do. It'll really start looking nice once the flowers get on there. Looks a little funny right now, but it's coming. And then I'm going to put this last piece. Oop, that piece tore, so I'm going to have to get a piece. That's okay. Just let that be for now. Okay, then for the flowers, I just put a glue dot in the middle of these. And so, put a glue dot in the middle of that one. And it's going to go right here. And we'll put a glue dot. And there's texture on these, so you want to be sure and put your glue dot on the right side, on the correct side. And we're going to put this one over here. And then get my green paper here for a second. I need a piece of short stem, so I'm just going to cut me a piece. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a curve. Yeah, I think I want it straighter. I'm just going to get me a piece of skinny paper here. Kind of being wasteful, I guess, but we'll get it. Because I want to do a short flower. Right here. And that's going to be this little half-cut kind of a flower look. And again, I'm just going to use a glue dot. And for these, the glue dot might be a little bit bigger than the flower, so you want to I kind of roll it on my finger, create a little rolled section. And then we'll stick it on there like that. Okay, then when they use that die for these centerpieces, this is Mary Merlot. I liked it rather than your typical brown center. It's got a really pretty color to it. And again, I'm going to use glue dots to fasten those on with. And so I'm just going to put a glue dot in the center of the flower. Get it to let go of me. Just like that. And this one, again, I'm going to kind of roll it. And I'm going to put it right at where it's going to attach right here. It's going to actually stick to the white background. Just like that. And one of these that looks a little bit like a triangle. Get it to let go of me. That's going to go on that half flower. Make sure you have the right side up because it's got a texture. And it'll fit just perfect right in there like that. Isn't that cute? And then just make sure you've got these so that the textured side is up. And you can stick them to their respective places. You can see it's starting to really take shape, and it looks really cute. And I won't need that last piece. And then I have lots of leaves that I cut out because some of these stems are going to need leaves. And I am going to just put a little bit of adhesive right on the card itself and then stick these leaves where I want them. And they're sticking to me because I've got sticky fingers today. And these also have a little bit of texture to them, so you want to watch out for, again, for the texture of them. And I think it's going to need one over this way. So I cut out lots of leaves so I could add however many I wanted. And this stem over here is going to need some. And I'm not sure which way they're supposed to go, but this is the way I put them on. There you have it. If you've got a suggestion, you can always leave me a comment and let me know where you think, which direction the leaves should have pointed. But again, I think it's just a matter of taste. Okay, let's put a couple on this one. It needs a couple here and here. And, you know, I don't worry about the design overlapping a little bit. That just adds dimension to your card. I did notice that this little stem, I wanted it to match, not overlap. So I'm going to trim just a tiny bit off of that. So it'll lay down there. It's much better. And there's the finished product. Looks a little different than the first one, but, you know, that's okay. It doesn't have to look exactly the same. And again, I just cased the card that you'd find on page 83 of the current January to April mini catalog. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Please leave a thumbs up and a message, or subscribe if you haven't. Just leaving a thumbs up or hitting the like button helps my algorithms so more people can find me, and I'd love to be able to do that. So I encourage you to do that. I also have an online store, and if you don't have a demonstrator, please consider shopping with me. I would love to be able to take care of you and your needs for stamping. Thank you very much.